in your article, you described a digital twin universe. So you've been, you essentially using AI to build simulations of the services that your product talks to. I'm curious about what the process is for essentially assuring the validity of those. How did the what you've just described, how did that play out in the case of those so that you got to a point where you trusted those, but without having to go in and do lots of manual tinkering and inspection and verification in order to get to that level of trust?
In the case of, and we actually have many of these now for different purposes. The original, let's say, suite of digital twin universe applications, and by the way, they're in a universe together because they actually share the same event timeline and the same state. So the users that are born into a digital twin of Okta, those users are injected over SCIM to a digital twin Slack or Teams, right? And those can OAuth as they log into Google to read some Google Sheets. Okay, so all of those real like realish API surfaces have a shared state in the background, which means we can view the event stream across all of these. We can rewind and replay and truncate and branch all of that. Okay, so that's why they're in a universe together, right? You could snapshot the whole universe, you could reconstitute the universe, and so on. When it came to fidelity for that particular suite, and again, we've got multiple suites for multiple purposes, but for that suite, it happened that really what we were trying to validate was fairly coarse event, let's say, coherence as agentic processes and let's say more deterministic processes were bouncing off those APIs. So essentially, we wanted to see that when we send the user an invite, they receive the invite after we send it. And that the invite has, the expected code and not some other code. And when they refer to something that they wrote in a Google Doc, that's there, And so it's fairly coarse grained inspection. You could almost think of it as black box QA, like what would any human observing, what would they
So
point
if
to
you
and
play
say
this
that
in
is
forward against real environments as well, and then do comparisons of these timelines with
we we
your
we
simulated
definitely
universe
do we
timeline.
definitely do all of that. So, and we
Right.
kind
Okay.
of refer to this as wall time. So we have wall time version where we're going at wall time rates against real APIs. But then we go to the hypertime version where we're doing much faster than the Okta rate limits would allow, right? And that's where we're getting into the branching universes and the replay and the swiping forward and backward. And then really the most important party that's participating in operating the DTU is, of course, not me and it's not us. It's the agents, right? So the agent's ability to then, a superior agent, see the process, see inside what happened, use that as the diagnostic, use that as the way of explaining how we got here and how we got some logically inconsistent result. Like
Mm.
that's the next level of profound utility from having your own copy of any given SaaS software.